Hi, in this video we're going to be covering how to work with multiple configurations inside Product Selector. So when you load a Product Selector, by default you have these three default configurations. Opportunity configuration, and if you've enabled it, the default quote configuration and the default order configuration. So we're going to be working with the opportunity configuration, and what we apply here is the exact same thing you do with the other two types, right? So you'll notice that after version 3.23, you'll have this brand new multiple configuration interface, right? Which actually allows you to kind of filter different types. You can search for individual configuration if you have a lot of them, but generally you're just going to have, maybe even a dozen would be a lot of configurations. Not because of a system limit, it's just a lot to manage. We want to go beyond just the default opportunity configuration. So at the top here, you're going to be able to click plus, create a new opportunity configuration, and we need to give it a name. So let's say we're just going to give this particular configuration for the West USA sales team. And we're given the standard configuration screen. So if you've ever played with this before, we have a separate video. I'm not going to get into it too far, but the main thing to take away is that the status is active, which means that it's available to run. If it's inactive, it actually won't work. The second thing is that a button link is automatically generated, right? So in this case, you'll see lightning, and we'll have this name here. So for the sake of convenience, I'm just going to copy that text to my clipboard, and we'll come back to that later. From this point on, we would just configure it like we normally do. It doesn't really matter how we configure it, right? Just know that this will be unique to this particular button URL. So I'm going to get rid of close date because maybe the West team doesn't care about that. I'm going to save. And now we have a configuration that's specific to the West USA sales team. So the way you launch this is you just take this URL that I grabbed earlier, and you just drop it into any button inside Salesforce. So let's do that right now. This is a pretty standard thing to do inside Salesforce, but just say you haven't done it before, we'll walk through those steps. So we'll go to Setup, and let's pretend we wanted to add the button to the Opportunity object at the top. So we'll go to Opportunity object, select it here. We'll go to New Buttons, Links, and Actions. So we're going to create a new button or link. And for the sake of this example, we'll call it Add Edit Products, and we'll say West. This way it'll make it a little easier for us later on to find which button is for the West team. And from here, you just select where you want the button. So I'm going to have this a detail page button. We're going to display it in the same window, right? Because it's sometimes annoying to have it in a different window. And we just keep the URL. So the last thing we do is we just paste that URL that we got from the product selector configuration screen. And this is automatically generated, and you'll notice that it's smart enough to know which configuration you're talking about. So this is actually the configuration name. One thing to note is that you can't, it should just be alphabetical characters. It makes your life a little bit easier later on. So let's save. It's saying it will not display until we add it to the page layout, but this is a normal Salesforce thing. We'll save. And now the button is created, and it's available for adding to any layouts that we need. So in this case, I'm just going to go to page layout. We have a couple of them here, but I happen to know that the one that the admin uses is opportunity layout. Let's go to mobile lightning actions. And now you see we actually have two buttons here. So add products West and then the standard one. I'm going to add both these guys to the layout, just so you can see how different it is. We'll save. If you're working with a Salesforce configuration where the layouts actually determine the buttons on your opportunity layout, you're done. So this should appear inside the opportunity layout. Having said that, you might be using dynamic layouts. So I'm just going to open this up. You notice that I only had one button here. That's because our configuration is dynamic layout. So what you can do is you can click on the cog, edit the page. You may need to come in here and individually add that action that we just created. So let's add that here. So we're going to have a button here called Add Edit Products West. We're done, and we'll save. I'm going to leave the original one on just so we can contrast how the two look. Let's go back to the page, and you'll see now we have Add Edit Products West. So the two buttons work entirely independently. But if we open up West, you notice that I'm missing close date, which is the configuration we changed and is specific to the West USA sales team. So that's how we would create a new button. And depending on whether you're having your buttons come from the layout or if you're using dynamic layout, I've shown you how you could do it in either case. So up till now, I've shown you how to add a button to the opportunity details section. Let me show you also how we can add a button to the product related list, because traditionally that's where we see add edit products. So let's create a button now for that section. So we're going to go back to the setup. We're going to go to Object Manager. And what we're looking for is actually the opportunity product. If you're looking to add this to the quotes, you could just open up quote products. If you're looking to add it to the order product area, you just search for order product as well. So we're going to go to buttons and links, add a new button or link, and we're going to create that add edit products button for the West team. You could call this button whatever you like. I'm using West just to make it a little bit clearer. So the key here though is instead of adding detail page button, we're going to add a list button. We don't need to display any checkboxes, and we'll say that it displays inline. So just like before, we use the special URL that opens up the West USA sales team link. We'll save. And now we're almost done. But this time we should go back to the opportunity page, and we now need to add that special button to the opportunity page related list. So we'll go back to the opportunity, go to the page layout, opportunity layout, because if you remember, that's the one that the admins see. And we're going to scroll down this time to the products area. So you'll see this little wrench is where you would actually add the button. The modal pops up, and if you scroll down to the button area, in this case we need to just expand this area, you'll see that new button that we created is right here, Add Edit Products West. By moving it from the available button to the selected button, it's now usable for opening up the product selector from this related list section. It's a little bit more because you're actually going to the products to create the button, then you're adding it to the opportunity section. If you don't see the button here, even though you know you've created it, go back and double check that the button you created is a list view button. If it's a detail page button, it won't show up. So now we can come back into the opportunity. I'm going to refresh. And now when I hover over into the product section, you'll see this Add Edit Products West button is now available. And it opens up specifically to the Add Edit Products West configuration that doesn't have the close date. So that's it. Just to sum up what we did, created a brand new configuration, we changed it, saved it, grabbed the URL for that button, and then we added the URL into a newly created button, whether we want it on the details section or we want it on the related list. You can also extend this to set up the button to have any kind of logic you like in it. You could put an if statement in the button and even have different URLs that pop up depending on which demographic data or even opportunity data that you want to use to drive the button logic. So that's it. Thanks for checking in today. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact support at skyven.com. Bye now.